Hello everyone, this is a solo play of Lunarchitects. In a solo game you are always the furthest piece at the back to start with, so you get the first turn and then others will come in behind you as it's their turn. Again, in a solo game you always put out the lap scoring independence tile, which gets you 1 point for every rocket ship, gem and red action tile you have available. And you always put out the solo taxes game, which loses you 4 points at the end of the game for every tile. So you want to keep your blueprint areas very small. And this end of game scoring is a random one, so you always get one random one, and in this case it's the sprawl, which means we get 6 points for every tile that is at the end, at the edge of an area, and is only adjacent to one other tile. So we will take the first turn, and I think we'll skip forward. I think the Trader's Outpost does look nice because it gives us 2 points. So I should explain how these work. So when you place a tile down, it has an action bonus, and sometimes it has a first time activation bonus. So with our starting tile we have the first time activation bonus of 1 point, 1 gem and 1 astronaut, which goes on the tile. And when the Trader's Outpost comes in, it has a first time placement bonus of 2 points, 1 rocket ship and a second astronaut. And astronauts are important because when you place tiles, not only do they have to match up to the blueprint lines if there are such on the tile, but they also have to go next to a tile with an astronaut already on it. So you cannot place them in the far reaches of your blueprint area, unless you have astronauts there. So now we come to now we fill in behind us with new tiles, and now we come to the randomizing dice. And in a solo game, a 2-player game and a 3-player game, you always have the white die to add a randomizing effect, and that just skips over and claims the tile. And in a solo game only, you have the red die, which adds a randomizing effect. So it will go 1, 2, 3 spaces. Now, if it could go further, it would still have to stop at the red tile and take it off because it is the red die. And must remember to fill in the gaps. And our turn. So that tile, the robotic smuggler, we would have taken because it's a very nice point scoring tile when it comes to the end of lap. But in the meantime, this dynamo will allow us to trade resources to get gems, and gems get us a point every time we go round. So it might be worth trying to gather a few resources. So we'll come along and grab the reclaimer. And then we go to our building area and we'll just slot it there. We could place it here, but again we're trying to get tiles which are only adjacent to one other tile. So when it gets placed, it gives us 1 water, and then it activates surrounding tiles. And in this case that's just the green quarters, which will be an astronaut move. So you pick up an astronaut and you move them to an adjacent tile, or you can pick them up and fling them into space and trade them for a rocket ship. But in this case we'll move this astronaut over to there. And then back to the die, so that goes 1 and takes off the purifier, and then back to us. So we will now claim the dynamo. Can we do that? Yes we can. So we'll refill tiles, we'll come round and grab the dynamo. So the way this works is you can, when you place tiles, activate them in any order. So when we place the dynamo here, for example, it gets a placement bonus of 1 gem, and then we will activate the reclaimer first and get us another water, and then we will activate the dynamo tile, which indicates that you can trade 2 resources of your choice, any 2, for another gem. So we'll take off our 2 water and swap out for another gem. Okay, so it's going to be a while before the dice catch up to us, so they'll just keep going ahead and pretty much grab all these tiles. Yep, that one. And any that get completely passed over will come off anyway, because they don't get a second chance to be taken. But as it is, the dice are doing a very good job of just clearing out all the tiles by themselves. Yep. Just remember to refill in the rows behind. There we go. So almost caught up. One, two, three. So it would normally go 4, but again it has to stop on a red tile if it reaches one, and just stops there and takes that one away. 1, 2, 3. So, finally back round to us. So the randomizing die have passed the performance review / lap scoring line. So when we cross it, that will be the end of the first lap, and we will have a scoring opportunity. And we get 1 point again for rocket ships, gems and tiles. So now would be a good time to zip ahead and possibly grab some of these tiles. So Robotics Workshop gives us, well, it's a red tile on its own, and it gives us a one-time any other tile activation. Not that useful with the powers we have. The industry quarters cost several resources which we do not have, but and again it would give us points for other resources which we do not have, so neither of these on their own are very good. Launcher allows you to launch stuff into space for points. Nothing requires water, unfortunately. Well, several tiles cost water to buy, but I was looking at, for example, the reactor, which gives you gems for rocks. Well, rocks may very well be useful to us later on in the game, so we'll come round and we'll grab the mine. And then we'll come back to our area and we'll place it there, and that will give us 1 water and 1 rock. Yes. I was just wondering if it was worth placing it. No, I couldn't place it next to the quarters because it wouldn't respect the blueprint lines. So that would not be worth it, because if you send off one of your astronauts into space you get a rocket ship, which would be an extra point for us at the moment. But no, I think we'll leave it at that. So fill in the tile, and now, as I said, we come to end of lap score. So that just indicates we've done the first lap. So again, we got 1 point for rocket ships, gems, red tiles. So if we come back to our area, we have 1 point for that tile, 3 points for the gems, and 1 for that rocket ship, which is a total of 5. So there we go. These tiles were skipped over, so they just get removed. And then the dice will play the catch-up game. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it would go 5, but again stops on the tile, takes it off. 2, 3, and then these get removed. We'll just do a quick filling in of the empty spaces. And now we come into the mid-game tiles, which are a step up in resource generation, but also a step up in costs as well. Oh, and yeah, these should have been taken off. to. Not that one, that one. And back to us. So, efficient quarters costs us air, which we don't have, water, which we do have, and gives us rockets and astronauts. The robotic trade dock is an interesting one. It gives 2 points when you place it for every star symbol you have. So if we come back down to our area, we can see that the dynamo has a star symbol on it, the mine has a star symbol on it, reclaimer has a triangle. So, and it will also give itself 2 points as well because it has a star symbol, so that's not terribly bad. And we're almost going to be a new lap anyway. Well, let's have a quick look at what else we've got. So there's another reactor, but again costs air, which we do not have. So we'd have to buy it for 2 points. Panacea would cost a rocket ship, but would get us resources of our choice. Museum is just straight up 3 points. That's probably not a bad one, actually. Costs us gems, so it's costing a point every lap, but we only have 3 more of those to go, and you get 3 points every time it activates. So 2 activations and you're ahead on points, basically. I think it's probably still a good idea to go for the, can I make it fit in our available area? I was going to say the robotic trade dock, but if we have a look at our area, if we place it here, it then loses points for us because this is now no longer adjacent to only 1 tile. We really need to go off in this direction, or below us in that direction. So actually the museum might not be the worst one after all. Yeah, okay. So we'll come round and we'll grab all the way round to the museum. So take that, come down, place it down here. So we need to figure out how to start getting tiles off in this area. You know what? Second thought, I think I will probably take the robotic trade dock anyway. Because we need to start moving astronauts around to give us more places to place tiles. So it will come down here. Yes, it will cost us. But it's going to get us straight away 6 points. Again, 2 for every star tile you have in your area. And we have 3 star tiles, so 6 points. And now it will activate the green quarters and let us move astronauts. So this one is still a potential building area off in this direction. This one, however, is now completely full up on individually spaced tiles. So we will move this astronaut and bring it up to the dynamo, and then we can build off the dynamo and get extra gems for trading and resources. Sure, we'll give that a try. So back round to the dice. So it stops anyway at the efficient quarters. Purifier is gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the panacea. 3, 1, 2, 3, and these get all removed anyway, and I should be filling in the gaps. Okay, and we have a lap scoring because all markers have crossed the line. So I will just flip that to remind me. So again, 1 point for rocket ships, gems and red tiles. So we have 1 there, 2 there, red tiles, again 3 gems and a rocket ship. So we're only 1 point up from the last lap score, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but again isn't the best thing in the world. So that's 5 and a 1, so that's 6 points there. And the dice are carrying on, taking off their tiles as they go. Two around the biome and fill in the gaps. Sorry, that should be that way around. Getting ever so slightly confused. There we go. So there goes the museum and the robotic controls, and it's back to us. So we've got the mayor's quarters, which would be 2 points for every semicircle icon on our tiles, and we have no semicircles, so that is of no use to us at the moment, apart from 1 point when it comes to the end of lap score. The reactor costs us air, which we still do not have. Launcher costs us water, but we can chuck into space 3 different goods for 9 points, which is pretty good, except we'd have to start buying. So the water would cost, well, it wouldn't cost us anything because we've got water on our tiles already. But then the 3 different goods is going to cost us 4 points in total at the market, and we could chuck them all into space for 9 points, so a net gain of 5. But we cannot, no we can, well, we can place it according to the blueprint lines here, but again it then stops this tile for scoring 6 points. So we really need individual tiles with no extra blueprint lines on them to start going off in different directions. Possibly the quarters then, because that would get us more astronauts and more building areas. Or we could come round and grab another museum and turn those gems into 3 points. Now that gets better as the game goes on, because the less laps you're going to score gems for, obviously the more return you're going to get on your 3 points for activating the tile. I think it's probably either the museum or the quarters. Not those, because that's blueprint line. So yeah, definitely the museum. So we'll come all the way around, do a complete lap there, and we'll put the museum down somewhere. So we may as well put it there at the far edge of our area. Could put it there. Either one of these is the only space on this tile now where you can have an individual tile coming off it. So it doesn't really matter, but we'll put it there. So it costs us 1 gem, but we do get 3 points back straight away. So that. And then hopefully we'll put a tile there and a tile there if we can, which will get us more activations in the museum. But in order to do that, we need to get an astronaut down on top of it. So that will probably be the next thing we look to do. Okay. So it is die catch-up time. So that goes 1, 2. I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm taking off the wrong tile. Yeah, you can get confused occasionally in this game with which tiles you're supposed to take off. So that one, but essentially they're all going to come off anyway. It's just the number of spaces that the die occupies in order to come around ahead of you. Need to be filling in the gaps. So we are now at the end of the mid-level tiles, and we've got the first couple of the late game tiles coming out. And that die will come round and finish the lap for us. So, third lap completed, and again, 1 point for every red objective you've got. So we actually gave up one of our gems, so now we're only getting 2 for the tiles, 2 for the gems, and 1 for the rocket ship, which is going to be 5 there. Okay. So 1, 2 would go 4, but stops there at the mayor's quarters. Takes off that red tile. These quarters get taken off anyway. Oops. So 1 there for the reclaimer. Only 1 for the Omni Harvester. Purifier goes, and then it is back to us. So right. No, not that one, because that's a blueprint line that requires us to build, or we can't. So the pilot's quarters would cost, though, air and food, which we do not have. We can't build the robotic energizer because, again, we have no astronauts on the required spaces where the lines would have to continue. Could go for the robot workshop, which gets us a tile activation of our choice and replace it, which could be the museum actually. I like the sound of that. I think that's what we'll go for. So we'll come around, we'll grab the robot workshop, we'll come back to our area. So now we're just going to have to slide things about just a tad. Just bring this down just a bit. Bring that down, and we'll put the robot workshop just there. So robot workshop will get a one-time placement bonus of activating another tile, which museum will get us 3 points, but activating the green quarters will get an astronaut movement, which then means we can place other tiles elsewhere. Well, anyway, the dynamo is going to activate irregardless, and that will allow us to trade 2 resources, 1, 2, for a gem, so we'll get that gem back. And then 1 more. 3 points, tile placement. Well, we've also got, we're probably only going to get 1 more tile, because we're coming up to the end of the game. So when everyone has crossed the lap in a final time, you get 1 final lap scoring, and then you get the end of the game score. So once we've crossed the line, that is essentially our turnover. So we'll probably only get 1 more tile. And if we grab the right tile, it can just go next to the dynamo off there, and that will get us some points there. So yes, we will activate the museum another time and get us 3 more points. So we'll take a 10 and put back 7. Okay, and fill in. And then the dice will catch up. So quarters are gone. Reactor is gone. So there's a slightly better museum, which gives 4 points. Stops at the robotic energizer and takes that off. 1, 2, 3, takes off the quarters. So back to us, and like I said, for probably the last tile pick of the game. So we could go, we could go and get the pilot's quarters, and that would give us 1 more after that, but it costs us so many resources that we'd have to spend points for that it wouldn't be worth it in the end. So basically we've got the museum, which again would cost us a gem, but now gives us 4 points the robotic optimizer, which we can place, but it would lose us 12 points. So it could go there in the only available space it can go, but it would stop those from scoring points, so that's not worth it. But it would activate every tile we have which has a triangle and a star, which again is not worth it. So Bio and Reclaimer are just resource generations, so that's not any use. So yes, the museum. So we'll come round and we'll grab the museum and we'll put it there on the other space above our dynamo. So costs us a gem, but straight away gets us 4 points, so 5 and 1 back. And the dynamo activates, but again we have no resources left to acquire gems, and it would cost us too many points to buy them, that the return would not be worth it. So we'll leave that. So that comes out, and then basically the red die goes 1, 2, stops at the pilot's quarters, these two come off, and then 1 for the storage tanks, crosses the line and gives us our final lap scoring, which is again 1 point for rocket ships, gems and red tiles. So now we've lost another gem, but we have gained 1 more red tile, so 3 for red tiles, 2 for gems, 1 for rocket ships is a total of 6. There we go. And then we do end of game scoring. So, well, let's do the sprawl first and then we'll take off points afterwards. So the sprawl gives us, we'll bring it down so it's a bit easier to see. So the sprawl gives us 6 points for every tile that is only adjacent to one other tile. So that is Robot Workshop here, museum there, mine here, museum there. These are all clustered together so they don't score anything. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4 for a total of 24 points. So we will put in 25 and take 1 back. Okay, now we come to taxes. So this will lose us 4 points for every tile in our base, and as I said, this is just basically a way to curb grabbing every single tile in the game that you can possibly get and creating this huge monstrosity. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for a total of 36. So 25, 35, and we'll split that 5 into ones. So, excuse the fiddly one-handed shuffling. There we go. So that's 5 ones, so that is 36. Take that off as well. Right, there we go. So now we tally up our points. So we've got 10, 25, 29 in total. And if we have a quick look at the rule book, you can hopefully make out that 29 points is a good game. So not bad. If we had scored a few more, we would have got 31, or 30 even, sorry, which would be a great game. I win. So I don't win, but I still had a good game, which is pretty true. So that is a solo game of Lunarchitects. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.